Yeah, I really think that's what Titan wants, or sorry, that's what STX wants, because this map really splits east versus west a little bit more, and the siege tanks, especially on those plateaus in the middle of Shakura's plateau, are able to just cover the low ground. You don't have to worry about Zerglings or Banelings surrounding those siege tanks. And then the Marines can also support as well, giving cover fire, making sure the Mutalisks do not eat them alive, as we are going to see Gosu STX spawning as the dirty yellow Terran player on the top left-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, vV Titan spawning on the top right-hand side of the map as the red Zerg. So this is going to be Zerg versus Terran on Shakura's plateau. It is going to be close by air spawns, but even though it is close by air spawns, it's not that close, as both players may be able to set up a very long macro game.
This is a very popular map for 2 racks because you're able to place those racks on the low ground. It's, I guess, an average walking distance to your opponent, especially in these positions. And then if it doesn't work, you're able to place those racks, maybe one more, and sort of have a 3 racks wall off and quickly expand behind it. But it looks like STX is going to place that supply depot at the top of the ramp. So we'll see where he places that barracks, whether he does it to sort of wall off and tech up, or whether he does go for that 2 rack sort of play.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see what XTX also, if he was watching the earlier game and whether or not he's going to be going into Hellions. Perhaps he has a different Hellion harassment build in order to slow down Titan and going back to his extractor pool opening this time around instead of going for a fast hatchery. A very smart choice by Titan, I think. You don't want to play the same strategy twice, especially if you believe your opponent has already seen you open up with a specific build. By changing this up just a little bit, it may be pretty effective in order to counter any 2 racks, as you mentioned. But STX also going for a refinery as well. So far, it looks like STX may be opening into either Banshee or Hellion harassment, or perhaps just a Reaper expand.
Yeah, we see Titan's got that Overlord in position here. He's at least going to be able to see the gas here, but he's got to peel away so the first Marine's not able to take down that Overlord. He's got a second Overlord here at the top of his ramp in his natural, just to sort of see whether any sort of crazy bunker play is going to be coming, or any SCVs. You want to make sure that you have a tab on each SCV that comes over. That way you can't, sort of get cheesed out of a game. Obviously, Titan really needs to defend in the early going, as we've been saying all along. He's quite a strong late game player, so he has to be, I would say, overly cautious at the start just to make sure he can get into that late game, as we see a tech lab going down for STX. So we will have some sort of Reaper opening, and if Titan has practiced at all with Murder and Angry, he's definitely faced these Reaper openings from a Terran before, so I imagine that he knows how to deal with it.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if Titan actually saw the gas or not. When that Overlord was flying by, you could never see the refinery, but for a split second or two, you could see an SCV holding one of those little green canisters. So if Titan was very observant, he perhaps could have seen that and knows that his opponent isn't going for any sort of 2 racks pressure, as that SCV once again runs around on the inside. That SCV being very smart to try to stay off the creep, but it is slower than those Zerglings and will get taken down there.
Yeah, and we've got Zergling speed about 60% of the way done, and then a Queen already out. If you check the, actually he changed his rally point on that Reaper, but he was trying to come along the north between the 2 bases, and that he's going to go right underneath this Overlord from Titan. So Titan's going to know about this Reaper in about 1 second here, and then he's going to be able to react accordingly, placing that Queen on the west side of his hatchery, ready to greet that Reaper if he pops up there.
Yeah, so in comes the Reaper. Now the Queen now trying to get in position. And it looks like the Zerglings do have the metabolic boost running around ever so quickly. That Reaper not going to be able to do very much. The Queen does have 1 armor and is not a light unit, as the Reaper now tries to push in, but the Reaper just dancing on the edge of that creep. And oh, Titan now off creep, but Zerglings maybe trying to push into that corner. No, it doesn't look like it, as the Zerglings now running back down over here. The Reaper perhaps getting the message that there would be a lot of Zerglings, doesn't want to engage just quite yet.
And behind this, we have STX, who's about to complete his command center inside of his base. He's also working on Blue Flame Hellions and then pumping out a number of Marines. He's added a second gas as well. And it looks like Titan's created quite a few Zerglings here, so we'll see whether he's going to be able to make those pay off. He will take down that Reaper very quickly. So at the moment, he's got quite a few Zerglings, and I guess STX might be feeling a little bit of pressure at this point. He's got his Marines on the low ground with a Hellion. He's got an SCV in a position here. He might be creating a bunker. Yes, he does. So Titan he's not going to be able to use these lings yet, but he's at least forcing a bunker from STX as he does try to land this orbital command and really start working off these two bases. If we check the harvester count, it is 30 to 25, so Titan's harvester count suffering a little bit because of those early lings, and at the same time coming out the Roach Warren as well.
Yeah, so the Roach Warren going to be there to counter those Blue Flame Hellions. You saw a Zergling earlier run up and try to see what was going on the inside of the base. He saw the factory, he saw the tech lab, and assumed that Blue Flame Hellions would be coming in. You can see Titan also establishing his third base at around the 7-minute mark, so a standard, actually a little bit early for a third base, but he knows that he needs to do it as STX already has his natural up and running with an orbital command, and he cannot fall behind in this economic game, deciding to expand here at the 3 o'clock location as opposed to the center 1 or 2 o'clock location, which would be just a little bit too close, a stone throw away or a siege tank blast away from STX.
Yes, we'll see how quickly Titan's able to spread creep between the bases here. Those Blue Flame Hellions could just be a terror on that third if he doesn't have creep spread. The Roaches typically don't get speed in this matchup if you're just creating a few Roaches, but Titan just now coming out with his Lair Tech. He decided to go for this third base a little bit before Lair there, but he is working off of 2 gas. He's about to get up his third, so I think if he was actually getting up his fourth as well, so not quite sure what his Lair Tech is going to be. He's going to be on 4 gases shortly.
Yeah, with 4 gas, I would either assume Infestors or Mutalisks, as those are the more gas-intensive units. Hydralisks at this point wouldn't be that effective, as even those Hellions would deal a lot of damage to those Hydralisks. In comes an Overlord. The Overlord wants to see all the production buildings, only going to catch a couple of them as a group of Marines gets right underneath. The Marines still do not have combat shield and don't quite have Stimpack just quite yet, but the Roaches were able to show up and push back this Hellion harassment.
And STX must have watched that last game because he is getting siege tech. So that is going to make the siege tanks very good compared to what Pokebunny's siege tanks were able to do against Titan. So not making that same mistake, and we see Titan, he is spreading the creep between the bases here. He had nice positioning on those Roaches, and it looks like he's coming out with a few more Roaches. He's got 16 at the moment, so might actually invest in Roach speed. He is coming out with both an Infestation Pit and what I thought was a Spire, but actually is a Spine Crawler in the back minerals of his main, so he's going to try to defend against any sort of drop play with that Spine Crawler. And I like that move, especially with the Roaches. They're not quite as mobile as the Speedlings might be, so if you're defending against drops, having a Spine Crawler there with Roaches definitely works out.
Yeah, definitely going to work out. And we also see Titan now just power droning his way. He was tied just 40 seconds ago, but after training 15 additional drones, able to catch up and now take the lead, 65 drones versus 49 SCVs. As it looks like those Hellions are once again just trying to see if they can deal any damage at all, catching a couple of drones in transit. Trying to just mine more minerals, but no, it looks like the Roaches will push them back once again. And now STX has a rather large army, but then again, he's really not capitalizing with it, as I spoke too soon, as we are now going to have 6 siege tanks, a squadron of Marines, and a couple of Hellions finally make a move.
And the creep making its way out slowly but surely. I'm not sure this is enough creep spread to really make STX think twice about this push yet, but these Roaches are out here. They're supported with just an Infestor that actually doesn't have enough energy for a fungal growth yet. It looks like going for Neural Parasite instead of the Pathogen Gland. So these Infestors, it's going to be a few more moments before they have that fungal growth. There's 4 Infestors at the moment, but it looks like the creep spread is forcing STX to siege up a little bit far away, and now he started this contain here with the missile turrets and the bunkers like I was talking about. This can be very difficult to deal with as we see the Roaches coming up. A fungal goes down on all those Marines, so the Marines very low. A second fungal is going to be able to take those down, and now the Roaches surging forward, going to try to focus down on as many tanks as possible, getting 2 tanks there, but seeing all the remaining tanks in the back. And I think Titan's just got a few minutes here to try to react before the reinforcements make this contain too difficult to break.
Yeah, there are currently 4 siege tanks here, Marines in position as well. Looks like the Infestors are still running around. They do have enough for, I believe, 1 fungal growth between the 2 fungal growths between the 4 of them right now. Energy needs to come in. If Titan is able to get off a Neural Parasite on a siege tank or 2, one of those front 2 siege tanks, that may change the battle, but those Roaches are going to have to absorb a lot of damage first. Once again, you can see the line of siege tanks going back very, very far as SCV is being brought from home once again. And this is pretty much STX. He's invested a lot in this attack. This attack needs to deal a lot of damage as you now see Titan establishing up a 4th base.
Yeah, especially because of that 4th base. If STX doesn't win here, he's going to be down 4 bases to 2. Those infestors have enough energy for 2 neural parasites. Titan might be waiting for enough energy for 2 fungal growths as well. But as you mentioned, grabbing a few of those siege tanks can definitely change the game here. Those siege tanks will quickly turn their guns on those relatively squishy Marines, so they will go down with just a 55 health. Now we see Titan surging forward once again with those roaches. But the Roach is taking a few shells from those siege tanks. I really think Titan needs to wait till he's maxed here. He definitely has the opportunity to do so. He's at 199, and then surge forward with the Roaches and Infestors at the same time.
Yeah, he's also getting pathogen glands, roaches, zerglings. Now in comes the attack. Roaches are trying to split apart. Are we going to get a neuroparasite? It looks like we are going to get, no, 1 neuroparasite and a lot of fungal growth. Roaches starting to push their way through continually, and a very, very wide spread of units here. It looks like this one siege tank down to 21 hit points will get turned around in just a moment. There it goes. And Titan now exchanging blows, but the reinforcements are still coming in, and it looks like only a couple bunkers will remain of this siege.
And we'll see how many the Infestors Titan was able to save, just the 2, so he lost 2 Infestors there. That's pretty important. He's got enough for 1 more fungal, so he might be able to try to break this. And there's the GG from STX. Not really sure. I mean, he was definitely behind there, but I would definitely wait until Titan sort of broke that contain. Sort of an early GG there, but again, as we said, he was going to be down 4 bases to 2 after that contain didn't work. And Titan with that nice push out once he was maxed with the clutch neural and the fungals as well. A pretty nice game all around.